Now, you've probably heard of David's famous sin where he had an affair with a woman named Bathsheba, and then he tries to cover it up. And it was a pretty big low point in David's story. And then Psalm chapter 51 is a psalm that David wrote when he was repenting of that. God forgave David. God restored David. But the consequences of that sin would continue to plague his family and his legacy for decades and generations. Well, there's a second time where David, just like me and just like you perhaps, kind of drifted away from God. It's less known, but it is significant. And I want to take you into it because I think it's going to help us in our breakthrough study. Here's how the story starts. 1 Chronicles 21, verse 1. Satan rose up against Israel and caused David to take a census of the people of Israel. Now, this is so interesting. You might think, why would Satan want David to take a census? What's a census? Well, he's going to count exactly how big is my army. Here's what the big deal is. God had commanded David to not do this. And the reason is this. You remember where David's story starts with breakthrough with Goliath. There was a vast army of Israelite soldiers, and they were putting their confidence in their armor, in their numbers, and they didn't have enough armor and numbers to beat the Philistines. What beat the Philistines? God. It was God versus Goliath. He was looking for one person who had enough faith to walk out. So God had commanded David, I don't ever want you taking a census of your army because your faith, your trust should not be in the size of your army. Your faith and trust needs to always be in me. And so though this seems like not that big of a deal, this was a big deal. In fact, in the story, David's right-hand guy, Joab, says, my Lord, King, don't do this. And David more or less says, I'm going to take a census whether you like it or not. Get out there and count the soldiers. We'll pick up on this tomorrow, but here's where I want to invite you to start reflecting today. In our lives, most of us probably aren't putting our trust in an army that we own, but we might be putting our trust in some money that we own, or a business that we own, or some savings that we have, or some gold bars that we have, or some other thing, or some other person who has a lot of things. And we know as long as I'm with that person, they're going to take care of me. Is there an area in your life where, like David, you'd say, I love God, and you love the Bible, and you're still worshiping God, but has your faith, your trust drifted to be in something other than God? Let the Holy Spirit start working on that today. We'll pick up tomorrow. I'll see you then.